Draft mailbag time. First up, Fernando Gonzalez. If Chauncey Gardner is there at, let's say, pick 45 overall, do the Cowboys try to move up with Atlanta to get to him before Carolina does? I am intrigued by this, and if Chauncey Gardner falls, I am all for a trade-up. I may have him even higher than Darnell Savage does. So I am not going to go quite with pick 45. I'll go with a different one here, pick 43, which also puts you in front of the Packers, who could go safety as well. 43, 44, 45, even 46, that general trade package is going to be your second and your third round selection. Now, that is quite a bit, but I'm a big fan of Chauncey Gardner. And if there's a run on safeties, which I normally don't say this, I like trading up. In general, I want to move down, but from the way the Cowboys roster is built, I'm on board with this. Now, Gardner-Johnson was a vastly different player. Couldn't tackle in 2017. Gets better coaching, boom. All of a sudden, he could very well go in round one. If he slides into the 40s, I could see the Cowboys making calls and trying to move to get him. The good news is there are a lot of teams that I like this year. I think one will be there to either move up or even sit at pick 58 and grab your safety. So do you guys want to trade up in round two? Give me a 2 for yes, because it's round 2, and 3 for no, because you want to keep that third round pick. It is a bit expensive. That's how the NFL draft typically works out. So let me know in the comment section. 2 for yes, 3 for no. More safety questions here. No surprise, that's the theme here. Any chance the Cowboys land Abram or at least try to move up for him? I think there are 2 guys, maybe 3, the Cowboys would really consider moving up for. We just mentioned one, Gardner-Johnson. Abram is another one. I could see Taylor Rapp being a fit there as well. So for Abram, he is a very different safety than what the Cowboys have had in recent years. He is a strong safety, and he loves to hit. If you want a player comp, it's a little bit more like the old Cam Chancellor one there. For that type of mold as a safety, that big, strong, hitting, strong safety there. So I don't have Abram rated as highly because I want my guys to be a bit better over the top and in deep coverage. But he does have a round 2 grade for me. He's a reliable player there. And oh, by the way, he is the best trash talker in this year's draft. He is absolutely fantastic at it. All right, from @SportsToughGuy, this one was sent to me on Twitter, @WhatGoingDowney, is Darnell Savage going to be available to pick in the second or third round for the Cowboys? I don't think round 3. I think he's off the board in the first 75 picks at least. He might be gone in the first 55 picks potentially. I am a big fan of him. I know many of you guys are as well. Of all the things that we've mentioned, Thornhill and Abram and Rapp and Gardner-Johnson, I think that the player with the best chance of being there, again, nothing's ever set in stone, is actually Darnell Savage. I like him a lot. He's super fast, isn't afraid to hit, makes some plays on the ball. He's undersized. I'm going to overlook that for his speed. Back to Fernando again. If Amani Hooker, he means, Taylor Rapp, Juan Thornhill, or Savage are there at 58, who are you taking? These are just my personal rankings. But my number one guy is still Darnell Savage. Now, that's not to say that I don't like Amani Hooker, or I don't like Taylor Rapp, or I don't like Juan Thornhill. All those guys are good. But just for me personally, I've got Savage at the top. Then it's Taylor Rapp, then Thornhill. Those 3 guys, by the way, very close together. Then just a little bit after that is Amani Hooker, who I think will be there in round 2. So I want Savage, I want Rapp, or I want Thornhill. If you tell me right now I get one of those guys in round 2, I'm a happy man. I think many of us will be very happy with those results in the NFL draft. But I do want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. Who is your favorite safety in the 2019 NFL draft? Let me know in the comments section. Throw out some names there. All different kinds of options out there, and plenty of good ones too. So let me know in the comments section. Now, today's show is brought to you guys by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they'll give you $60 for free. You can use that to bet on the NBA playoffs, on the NHL playoffs. You can find some great deals on there on BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Joshua Football asks, trading back and stocking up on 3rd and 4th rounders. Normally, I love it. And in this case, I'm also fine with it, especially if some safeties and other guys fall and you got a bunch of different options there. Now, stay tuned, by the way. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. Next week, I'll put together some trade ideas for you that you could maybe see happen for the Cowboys on draft night. But which would you guys rather do? Do you want to trade up or down? In most years, I am always on team trade down. I want quantity of picks. The more you have, the more likely you are to get better overall draft hauls because you just have more volume. But this year in particular, with the way the Cowboys roster is structured, I'm open to trading up, and I haven't said that in quite some time. It's expensive, but if I get a really good safety in round 2, I'll be okay with it. Sergio Jamie says, could we draft a receiver at 58 just in case Gallup doesn't show up this season? I do think a receiver at 58 is possible. The Cowboys have brought in 4 guys. Deebo Samuel, who I think is the main round 2 option there. I saw this in the comments too. Mecole Hardman in round 3. I'm in. Emmanuel Hall in round 3. I'm in. Jonathan Johnson is a later round selection. But I don't think that you ever want to be drafting in the manner of just in case. That's not a great way to draft. So I'm open to receiver, but not because I'm worried about Gallup. I am really not. He showed a lot of promise last year. I feel good about it. What I am drafting for is the fact that Randall Cobb, Allen Hurns, Tavon Austin, and technically Cooper for now, are going to be free agents. So Cooper, Gallup, and then question marks long term. So for the Cowboys and their perspective and their thought process, long-term need at receiver, not what if Gallup doesn't play well this year. You're banking on Gallup. Now, let's talk more about Deebo here because James Hawkins asked about him as well. I'm a big Deebo Samuel fan. I don't know if he's going to be there at pick 58. He's one of the few receivers with the way the offseason has gone for the Cowboys that I would like them to take in round 2. I might prefer to wait till round 3 or round 4, but if Deebo's on the board, I'm in because he brings you more than just receiver ability. He is your long-term replacement not just for Randall Cobb, but also for Tavon Austin because he brings you return ability. He can be your gadget-type player. So what I want the Cowboys to do at receiver this draft, give me a player that fills 2 roles. Tavon is a gadget player and a return man. He does that role pretty well. Randall Cobb is your slot receiver. If you can find somebody talented, and I think there are several options out there this year, that can fill that role in round 3, round 4, and still help you this year, that's the route I want to go if I am the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, folks, use hashtag Cowboys to have your questions or comments featured on the show. Get them in. Use that hashtag Cowboys. Producer Brett's behind the scenes, he'll bring them up here throughout the show for us, for you guys. Any kind of question you want. Free agency stuff, there are still some guys out there, and I think more fittingly, the draft, because that's the big focal point here for the Cowboys with that just 2 weeks away. Reed Ferguson, linebacker at pick number 58. I'd be pretty surprised. I would be very surprised if the Cowboys went that route, not because I don't think it's a need, but it's not a priority need. Find me a better linebacking core in the NFL of Sean Lee, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and Joe Thomas. Off-ball linebackers, you're not going to find that in the NFL. Now, you are paying maybe a little bit too much, but I am fine with it. And it's understandable I have some injury concerns about Smith and Vander Esch, but you have Lee, you have Joe Thomas. At a certain point, and this is how NFL teams operate too, you can't keep throwing high picks and money at a spot. You're paying Sean Lee. You spent 2 premier picks on Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. So yes, injuries are a concern, but you cannot throw another top 60 pick at a guy to be a backup. If you're spending a top 60 pick, you want him to make an impact, or at least be a guy that you replace a starter with in a year. That does not fit the mold for the Cowboys, and yes, Sam linebacker's in need, but that's a 20 snapper per game role. You can find ways to fill that there. So from the Cowboys' perspective, I don't think linebacker is a likely option to pick 50, but as I mentioned earlier today, the one exception is a guy like Christian Miller. If you can find a player who can be a Sam linebacker on base downs and help rush the passer like a more hybrid version of Jalen Smith, that makes some sense for the Cowboys at pick number 58. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.